They called him the God King. Jeremy Boring was supposed to ring in a brand new, unstoppable era for the Daily Wire. But the house that Ben Shapiro built is not doing well this year. Brett Cooper is out. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, now with a long-term illness that could have him sidelined for weeks or months. Today, we'll tell you what's really going on at the Daily Wire and whether or not they can come back and beat the left stream entertainment complex again. Hello, folks. It is a joyful day because you are here with us. We're so thankful for that. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to give you the news you need to know, and often either exclusively or before the drive-bys even have a chance to get a whiff of what we're talking about. Folks, click the like button. Let's dive in right now. All right, folks, if we go back to March 18th, 2025, this is straight from thedailywire.com, so we're not trying to play favorites here. Daily Wire co-founder Jeremy Boring to step in a new role focusing on entertainment. Now, Jeremy Boring was the guy behind all the funny stuff, Jeremy Razors and all that. He is now supposed to be in charge of entertainment, but since this announcement was made, it seems to me that the entertainment has been cut up. It's been dried up. In fact, I don't know that there's anything new coming out. I haven't heard anything good when it comes to the BentKey effort that was underway, which was the entertainment piece of the Daily Wire. But again, this was back in March 18th of this year prior. If we take a look at how things have gone since Brett Cooper left Daily Wire, this is the comment section, which is now run by her former best friend, Reagan Conrad, who was in the wedding. And as we can see, if we look over here, folks, on Social Blade, if you look at the views weekly, you can see these numbers back here. This is when Brett Cooper's there. We're not trying to be mean to Reagan. We're not saying a bad thing about her, but they have gone from, look at this, November 11th. Okay, this is around the election, so maybe it's unfair. In a single week, they had 27 million views. If you go back to October, they were getting like 15 million views a week. If you go after the election into December, still getting 19 million views a week. Now, in a single month, they don't hit 4 million views for the comment section. Now, 4 million views, that's not bad, but when you've had a loss from 20 million views a week, we're talking about this was an 80 million view per month YouTube channel. By the way, if you go look at Brett Cooper, she's not pulling those kind of numbers either individually. So things didn't go well for either side, except that if you remember, Barrett Media covered this, of course, that Brett Cooper, as of June, is now working for Fox News. So she's gone back kind of to legacy media. So Jeremy Boring seems to be kind of out. The entertainment segment of Daily Wire seems to be, at best, floundering. Don't know what's going to happen with the Pendragon stuff. But now they've got another big hit against them, and that is, folks, Dr. Jordan Peterson, one of their biggest personalities. He is down and out with a long-term disease, and we wish him very, very well. We're not hoping that the Daily Wire fails, and we're certainly not hoping that they fail because of illness. And we wish Dr. Peterson the absolute best. He's done a phenomenal job of lifting young men in particular out of the doldrums of accepting failure in life. And, well, that's worth commending, I would say. Jordan Peterson, according to the New York Post, is taking some time off of everything as he is dealing with a disease that was exacerbated by exposure to mold, which it seems to me, having read all of this, came about by him cleaning out his parents' home after both of his parents passed away within a very short period of time. So that is tremendously sad. But Dr. Peterson, who is 62 years old, now also out at the Daily Wire, at least for the time being. So this has been a tremendously rough year for the Daily Wire, and I don't take any pleasure in this whatsoever. One of the reasons I don't take pleasure in it is outside of the politics of it all, we need there to be competition from the various viewpoints in the world. And up until recently, basically Hollywood was just a monolithic factory, an assembly line of talking points and viewpoints from the left. Sometimes, if you were lucky, it was classical liberalism, but as we got more and more into the past few years, it was postmodern neo-Marxism, aka wokeism, with the Daily Wire not really being a force this year compared to what they thought they were going to be. That's one less big competitor against places like Disney and others. though, and I guess this is where we go for the conversation, guys, maybe it's not as needed now. I don't know. I used to think that without Daily Wire, where were conservatives going to go for an opportunity to make entertainment? But there's such a tsunami now of new media that maybe we don't have to have some of these up-and-comers that were starting to be at the edge of big time. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about Daily Wire and its current situation and whether or not it can sort of reestablish itself as a conservative entertainment company?
Well, I have some insight into what's going on with the Daily Wire because I know folks around, and it's clear to me that they're all in on just the news now. The entertainment side of it for them is kind of gone. They fired the entire BentKey staff. It's just relicensing items right now. I have it on some good authority that they were shopping around the Pendragon cycle, trying to get it out from under the Daily Wire. So I don't even think the entertainment side of it is theirs to take anymore. They don't even want to do it. But the nice thing is, right, there are other outlets now. I mean, we've seen Angel Studios have a lot of success, and even other smaller distributors that are taking on projects that you wouldn't have seen taken on 5-6 years ago. So I think it is changing, and I think the more voices that we have, right, to look at the Daily Wire as, I don't know, the Mount Everest of conservative news media, and they were trying to be like, Jeremy Warning was really trying to be like the next Disney. He really wanted to be.
Listen, Jonathan, they were. I looked at this back in January, February of this year, before all this fell apart. They were talking to investors about big time changes at the company. They really, you're exactly right. They were hyper aggressive, and it all fell apart like in months.
Yeah, although. It fell apart in months, but behind the scenes, it was known what was going to happen. I'm positive. Like do you
think that the Brett Cooper exit was that the catalyst publicly for this all to fall apart?
Yeah, I mean they lost. Right, there's the relationship they had with their talent was always bad unless it was one of the top four, and I think that came from the top down. And you can see in Brett Cooper's recent video from Saturday that. It really came down to the relationship with Jeremy Boring, and I think that's why he was ousted. And they wanted to rekindle these relationships. I mean, there was the whole the throwdown between them and Crowder a couple years ago too, right? Yeah, and so and that it's the same symptom for the problem that was there, and they tried to excise that, and I think that's where they're going. And so in order to restabilize the ship, they're saying, okay, we're going to go back to news. We're going back to the bread and butter that we've got. And not worry about the entertainment side of things, at least for a while.
So then just to clarify, and I don't want to push you too far, you always just say, nope, not going to talk about it, but this press release that came out in March, you're saying then you believe, and I think you're right about this, if I've got this right, what you're saying, this is a bunch of fluff, and Jeremy Boring is...
He's not involved at all with Daily Wire anymore.
Right, okay, that's what I'm presuming as well.
Yeah, the only thing that he's finishing, I think, is the Pendragon cycle, making sure that that's done. And then outside of that, there is no more role, as far as I understand, at the Daily Wire for him.
Well, is Ben Shapiro pretty much in charge then, or?
No, their CEO is a guy named Caleb Johnson. Nobody knows who he is. He's a silent guy, and he's kind of been the business guy running the whole thing. And he and Jeremy Boring were co-CEOs for a while there.
And here's my question: do you feel like the Blaze, Glenn Beck's organization, would they be the biggest competition to the Daily Wire as far as direct, or is there another? Who else is in this game as far as conservative new media is concerned?
I just don't have enough data on knowing what their numbers are compared to the Daily Wire. I'm more in. I follow that a little bit more, but
you also have to consider that when Daily Wire began, the idea of one person going out on their own and being a success, the way that Megyn Kelly has been, the way that Tucker Carlson has been, was unheard of. So teaming a group of individually popular but collectively more powerful people together made sense. It's what Blaze did. It's what they did. But now there are other ways to go. So maybe that time has passed. I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, Lou, because you know a vast amount of knowledge about how the entertainment industry works. This was the first time that I can think of really that there was a possible shot across the bow for conservatives to get in on entertainment production with a company dedicated to it that They wanted to be competent, whether or not that was happening behind the scenes. Lou, how difficult is it for a company to step in and do something that is on par with the levels of Hollywood and what they can do and their polish and their institutional knowledge? How difficult is it to replicate that, but do it with a different viewpoint?
I don't think it's that difficult anymore because the tools are so powerful. I mean, isn't that basically what the D-file stuff that Film Threat said was, where people thought, oh, well, what I have to do is go to Cal Arts and from there I'll get into Disney. They were telling people, no, do your own thing. And if you make something of quality, there will be a market for it. But I don't believe that was the problem at Daily Wire. I happen to know quite a bit about what happened with Crowder. And Crowder's basic beef was that the contract they wanted him to sign made him responsible if YouTube, for example, dinged him or cut out revenue. And they said, why, if you're a conservative and you hate what YouTube does, are you working to enforce their rules against your own people? That doesn't seem right. And it was much more complicated than that, but that's the short version. And, Crowder mentioned that when he was starting out, when he was working for Fox and other people, Ben Shapiro was his attorney. And my thought was, well, Ben, if you were still his attorney, would you have him sign this deal you offered him? And I thought, no, I don't think so. So,
well, let me ask you this, Lou. Okay, so let's say that there's somebody out there, and they don't even have to lean, to the right. Maybe they're a complete centrist. Okay, maybe they're libertarian. I don't know. But let's say there's somebody out there, and they are a person of means. They have some finances behind them, and they want to do a sitcom, and they want to kind of punch back against what we've seen out of the woke efforts for the past half decade or more. They want to take on Disney. They want to show that can be done now, and that a conservative take on that is funny and fun. What would it take, and what do you need to get that kind of an operation going?
You can make the show. The question is, where do you get it distributed where people will see it? That's the issue. And that's a different story.
Right.
That's a much different story. That's a bigger, in other words, to get that launched independently would cost more than the ad pub budget of ABC, CBS,
and
NBC.
So that's what BentKey, that's what the effort was, to have a distribution platform.
Well, but to use the goodwill of people politically aligned with Daily Wire to then promote it. You see, they figured we have a built-in audience of families and people with kids. BentKey originally was going to be largely cartoons. It was going to be kids programming with it was going to be, and then they beat him to it. It was going to be Bluey. It was going to be, and so
remember that their big thing was that they were going to bring back Saturday morning cartoons. I remember that so specifically. It's like, we are bringing back Saturday morning cartoons for the kids.
Yeah.
But this was all Jeremy Boring's. BentKey was all Jeremy Boring's idea. It was
right.
It was his baby, and it failed pretty dramatically. And so
his business acumen is great,
right.
But
and
he also is an extremely abrasive guy, and he pees off a lot of people. And that's not necessarily a success formula.
The problem is right, they're strident conservatives, so you're limiting your audience by default. And so when you start a kids channel, essentially Saturday morning cartoons, you're limiting yourself to your 10 million subscribers or whatever, and a subset of that has kids, and that's incredibly small. The same problem goes for the Pendragon cycle. It's not going to work. You have to do something like what The Chosen did, which is make it free, put it on the app, then you get picked up because people like it, right? You can't put it behind your walled garden and hope that somehow it becomes really successful, because it just won't.
But plus they were seen as being, I think, and rightly so, kind of opportunistic when the whole Snow White thing went down, and they sent Brett Cooper over there where they were shooting Pendragon anyway, put her in the dress and shot a trailer for something that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
To say, that we can do it right.
That was done in one afternoon there.
Yeah. I mean, and the answer is not to do what Disney's doing or what anybody's doing. The answer is to do your own thing. We're always complaining about Disney and the other major companies recycling old IP instead of coming up with new ideas, whether it's in the parks or in shows.
100%.
Well, heck, if you're on the outside, you have a great freedom to do that. And if what you're doing is reacting, you're not not leading. You're following along behind.
Well, I just want to reiterate that we are wishing very well, sending thoughts, prayers to the way of Jordan Peterson, Dr. Peterson, and his illness. We want him to recover as quickly as possible. I think he's a very important voice out there. Wishing well to Brett Cooper as well, and hope she does fantastic at Fox News. And everybody else involved. We're not trying to poo-poo on anybody. We're simply trying to say something here went astray, and it is, well, it's a missed opportunity. They had a completely different 2025 perhaps in mind, and that is not the time that they're going to have this year. Put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button? Share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated, anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
So I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.